Hi everyone, and welcome to Live Your Language, Tips and Inspiration for Your Bilingual Life. I am Stephanie, a doctoral student in second language acquisition and mother to two children that I am raising bilingually in my non-native language, French. Today, I'm going to be sharing one of, in my opinion, the best resources for raising bilingual children out there. It's a podcast titled Kletsheads. This is the podcast of Dr. Sharon Unsworth, who studies language science, specifically how languages develop in children who are growing up in more than one. And she is based at Radboud University of Nijmegen in the Netherlands. You might recall her name because I recently mentioned her in a video that I did, and I spoke about her recent research discussing the language development in children who are raised by non-native speakers of a language. Of course, I will put all of the information for that video in the show notes below. According to the description, Kletshead is a podcast about bilingual children for teachers, parents, and speech-language therapists, and it definitely lives up to the name. It tackles very, very common questions about raising children bilingually, and it presents it in a very accessible way that makes it super easy to understand for everyday people. The resource itself is just a very, very high quality resource, and she does a fantastic job of mixing research and also everyday people living their lives and raising their children in a second language. As this author is based in the Netherlands, Dutch is a main influence, and Dutch plays a huge role in all of her episodes. She herself is raising her children to be bilingual in English and Dutch. Even the title for this podcast is super thoughtful and completely appropriate. It's Kletsheads. So Kletsheads is a bilingual version of the word chatterbox. Now I'm going to talk about just a few reasons why I think this is a fantastic resource. One of the reasons why I really love this podcast is because it's super accessible. She does a really great job of being the bridge between academia and everyday regular parents trying to raise their children to be bilingual. She does a really great job of this by providing a summary after every speaker or kind of interspersed between speakers, just telling us in very plain language what they said and how it relates to us as we are raising children bilingually. The next reason I really love this podcast is just the tone that she takes in it. So she's a very accomplished researcher in language development for children who are bilingual, and she could totally get up there and just tell us what she wants us to know from her podium. But she doesn't do that at all. In fact, in many of her episodes, she features everyday parents who are raising their kids bilingually. Every episode has a section where she features children who are interviewed about being bilingual and what it's like to be bilingual and how they feel about it. I really love that section a lot because, especially when you read a lot of research about this topic, you never really hear the attitudes of kids, and this entire endeavor is all about them, right? It's really also refreshing to hear that a lot of them are very excited about being bilingual, and of course that's one thing that we all hope our kids will one day say to us. And the last reason I love this podcast is the topics that she addresses are so perfect for everyone raising their kids bilingually. So I know that at least for me, when I first started thinking about this, I had tons of questions. Like the common questions are like, how much is enough? Should I do it as a non-native speaker? What about language switching? How to handle that? What about language delay? We always hear about the possibility of language delay, but there's so much information out there. She just addresses a lot of topics that are super relevant to parents who are raising their kids bilingually. So I would say she does a good job of addressing probably the top 5 or 6 questions that we all have. If you want to know more about this podcast, I encourage you to visit the website. It's Kletsheadspodcast.org. And if you found this sort of video helpful, specifically the resource review, let me know in the comments and I'll do more. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and that way you can make sure that you don't miss any of my videos which discuss bilingual parenting tips and tricks. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.